What up, though? One Pride. This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where one pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. It is Friday night, so that can only mean one thing. Yes, the Friday night Q&A is back. This is the first one post the NFL draft. Hope you are all doing tremendously. Hope you've all had a great week, been able to cool off from all the draft fatigue and all the work that goes into that, and are back into the swing of things now. Hope you are all doing well. As I say, see a few people in the building already. Terry Perry goes, "Hey Anthony, how you doing tonight?" I'm doing good. I am doing good, thank you. Attila the Hunnizing goes, "Gotta go, but need every ounce of Eric Hunter information." You've got Eric Hunter's biggest fan right here, so you have all that and more. E40 is the truth, and Lions fans are about to have a reckoning. DC Smithers is in. He goes, "Hey Ant, hope you're doing well tonight." I'm doing very well, thank you. Hope you are as well. So yeah, you know the drill. I'm going to be around for however long, answering your questions, whether it's on the Lions, on the NFL, on college football, whatever you've got, throw them my way and I will do my best to answer those. But yeah, it's been a lovely week actually. Post-draft, it's nice to... We don't stream on Monday, so we've not streamed since Sunday now, which has been nice, being able to get the old sleep pattern back into gear again and, relax a little bit. But the work never ends. Off-season, it is the toughest time of year for content creators because you have to really dig into your wheelhouse to find interesting things to do, so it requires you as well. I have spent at least 5 hours in creative meetings with Matt this week and then with Paul and Ash this evening, where we're trying to sort our off-season schedule out, trying to get content that you guys would like to keep you going whilst we have this lull. We've got the schedule coming up in a few weeks, but after that it goes really quiet. So if there's anything you would like to see us do, if there's any content you'd like, any guests you'd like on, anything like that, then, by all means, let us know. Send in your comments and suggestions and we shall work on them. We are open to ideas. We have a lot of time to fill, and I'm happy to announce already we've got a fun show coming up for you. We need to set a date for it yet, but we've got a really good guest coming on. So his name is Joel Walkowski. He is an author and he is just in the process of releasing his new book, Honolulu Blues, How Loving a Losing Football Team Created a Winning Man. And it is all to do with the history of the Detroit Lions and one man and his family's specific relationship with the Lions over the years, and how the tough, gritty culture born out by years of frustration and losing creates someone who is resilient and strong. And, that's quite apt for all of us, really. We've all been shaped by Detroit Lions fandom, so we're going to have him on, we're going to question him about his book, have a chat, which is going to be good fun, a little something different, probably going to be towards the end of May, start of June time, but we'll keep you announced on when that is going to be. But yeah, we're going to be trying to do stuff like that. We're going to do as much fun stuff as possible for you to keep you going whilst Lions football is adrift. But as I say, you've got any questions, comments, anything like that, anything you'd like to do, just let me know. Sanders is in the chat going, "First time catching a live show. I love how you tell Dan on Lions Talk Live what you really feel about the picks and players." Hey, I appreciate you dropping by. I am, if nothing but honest. Yeah, I spend all year watching college football, scouting players out and that, and I'm not afraid to have an opinion that matters. You have to be stiff-boned as a Brit in this game. The amount of times you get told to go away and you're a Brit who has no idea what you're talking about, you've got to have a stiff backbone here, and I'm very convictive with my beliefs because you have to be. If you want people to listen to you from over in the States, you've got to believe your views, you've got to research them, you've got to be, you've got to know what you're talking about. So I am very committed to my views and opinions, and I will not change them on a whim. So, but appreciate you dropping by as well. I love Dan, I love the Jew crew, love Lions Talk Live, I love my weekly go with him on there. So yeah, thank you for dropping in here. Terry goes, "Hunter got signed as a prime UDFA, got closer to 200,000. Yeah, it's been a weird one this year. A lot of UDFAs have been getting announced as 3-year deals. Obviously, Hunter's been announced as a 3-year deal. but very little of it is guaranteed. So, if he doesn't make the roster, we're not really on the hook for that much. I think it's 200k guaranteed, but I do think it's noticeable that they've given him the deal and the potential to earn that much money. I think Eric Hunter should have been drafted. Like, he should just utterly have been drafted. For me, he's going to make the 53-man roster. I think you're going to see him even pushing the likes of Rolder for his spot on the depth chart, because Eric Hunter has something that most of our other linebackers don't. He has the build to work in coverage. A lot of our linebackers are a little smaller, a little more run defense orientated. We've not really got much in coverage right now, but Eric Hunter can be that, and he's a fabulous blitzer through the A-gap, which we've kind of lacked sometimes a little from our linebacking core as well. So, but I think it's telling. They got him quite quickly, and a lot of teams, they said 18 teams were after him. I believe it entirely. He was very much sought after in the pre-draft process. Shocked we managed to get him as a UDFA. I think I had him taken as with our 5th round pick, so the value's great, but he's going to surprise a lot of people. He's a lot better than his level of football would indicate. And I tell you what, he's going to, you're going to have to play your absolute heart out to, people saying Nowaski and guys like that are safe because of their special teams. Hunter's a 6-phase special teamer, and he has been his entire career. He will come for those special teams jobs. Even the special teams linebackers are not safe from him. So, but I just smile when I think about what he's going to do here. He's got a point to prove, and he's one hell of a player and one hell of a person as well. And he's got a lot to prove, and I think he will. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does going forward. What are your thoughts on Moore and Jimmy? Moore, I've kind of. So, you know me, during the draft, I get really emotional. I like my guys, and if I don't get my guys, I get miserable. And when we draft people who are not my guys, I'm miserable about them. Then give it a week or so, and I sort of cool off, and I look at it in a light and that. And especially Moore, I've really softened on my stance on that now. I wanted a pass rusher who not only fit the stereotype as being a bigger body guy who's in there to defend the run, but he also has the pass rush upside, because that's what we've ignored for years, the pass rush upside of our pass rushers. We've kind of got guys predominantly in there who are bigger, chunkier, just there to crush a can, defend the run, and not do anything in the pass rush. I want someone who can do both and gives me the best of both worlds, and that's why I liked Keldrick Folk, because he had a sophomore year where he was really good and he just didn't take it forward this year, but he had the upside. Moore's obviously had one really good year when it comes to his pass rush ability, and that was last year, so obviously it's a part of his game that's come on big time. He can get to the quarterback, he can create his own opportunities one-on-one. His pass rush win rate is very high, and again, that's something we need. Guys who can win one-on-ones, we've been crying out for them. Guys who've got a bit more of an arsenal to them, who can win those one-on-ones, create opportunities in the backfield. Not just against the pass, but against the run as well. We were like 29th in tackles for loss last year. It's just not good enough. We need guys who can get off the line quicker, beat their blocks quicker, and make negative plays in the backfield. And Moore does satisfy all those, all those demands that I had of the edge we come in for edge too. So while it wasn't personally like my favourite guy, I do like the pick more now, because I think he's a little different. 6'3", so not as big as they usually go on that edge spot, but I think he's going to be just fine. And providing Aleem's healthy, Hutch is there, Moore's going to get a lot of one-on-one looks this year. They ain't going to be chipping the tight end off of Moore. It's going to be towards Hutch, so you would think in his situation he'll be able to get a lot of he should get a lot of opportunities. Hopefully he can finish them, so I'm quite sold on that. Rolder I'm not at the moment. I don't know, I've just a 1 year of starting. There's some good parts to his game, there's some bad parts to his game, but at the end of the day, he's a day 3 pick. He's going to be a depth guy / special teamer this year, so, can't really get annoyed about that again. It was just, there were other guys I preferred. Kyle Louis was still on the board at the time, which I thought was a travesty, and I thought someone like him with his versatility and what he could bring here would have been a much better choice. Obviously Hunter, I think Hunter's got the upside to be better than Rolder in year 1, and we got him as an undrafted free agent, so But we'll see how Jimmy does. Again, we need a rotation, we need a depth, and, he'll push Malcolm, and hopefully, Malcolm will respond to that and do well. So, we'll see how it plays out. Again, just not my personal faves, but they're Lions players now, so they're my guys, and we'll defend them to the absolute hilt. So, yeah, I've softened a lot on Moore, rolled just a bit meh with right now, so that's what that is. Carlton Woods in the chat. Hope you're doing well, Carlton. He goes, hi, Ant. Hope everyone has recovered from the draft, onwards and upwards. Hey, the work never stops. I had like 2 days. I had Monday and Tuesday off. By Wednesday, me and Matt had our first meeting about the schedule, about what we're going to do going forward, and we created a to-do list because we had sort of our AGM type thing today where we discuss all the issues of the last year and whatnot, so we had to get that ready together. And then tonight we've done that. Me, Matt, Ash and Paul have all got together, and there's a lot of changes coming to the pod over the summer, a lot hopefully for the better. It's been a really bad last year for us, just in terms of trying to progress the pod forward. Obviously, Steve passing away, Ryan's partner passing away, and then Brent, one of our biggest fans on here. I've had issues up here. Ash has had a new job. We've only just got Paul on board. It's been very difficult for us to push us forward as we wanted to this year, but we're putting a real effort towards next year being top notch, and we've got a lot of good stuff in the works. So yeah, this never stops, and of course college football starts again, so I've started that. I'm doing CUSA team previews now, so there's no rest for the wicked. I think I'm looking at my Florida International Panthers again for next year. I love them, one of my favourite teams to do. So yeah, a couple of days break, all the work starts again, and we go, but we love it, otherwise we wouldn't do it. DC Smithers, do you think Brad's rookies get 3 years policy has been relaxed and players like Manu and Wingo or even Lovett are at risk? Wingo is second year? No, or is Wingo third year? You might very well be right. So rookies get 3 years. I don't know if that's Brad's policy. That's the policy of how I look at it. Every rookie, whether first round or seventh round, gets 3 years in my view to show that they can, make a case for them going forward. I don't know if it's Brad's policy, but certainly the closer you get to a Super Bowl, the harder it is to carry picks who aren't contributing. You've got to take guys who are ready to go. Like at the start of this build, every draft pick pretty much made the roster because there were that many holes in the roster, and they had time because there were no expectations of the team. The trouble is there's expectations now, and you've got to take players who can contribute, hence why Larry Boreham's been bought in, because I don't think Manu's ready to take tackle 3 job yet, and we need a tackle 3 going forward. So you're right. I don't think it's his policy's relaxing. I think it's the roster situation is changing. We can't afford to wait for guys anymore. It's like Varkey. Varkey's done a lot in special teams, but if he doesn't start producing in the first team as a running back or a safety, his position is going to be at risk. Wingo, you've got to figure Wingo's position is at risk because they drafted 2 defensive tackles on day 3. Guys who can... I don't know about Tyre West, but Skylar Gill-Howard can legitimately play a very important part of your rotation early because he's a pass-rushing defensive tackle. That's what Wingo was kind of bought in for. They thought Wingo would be this disruptive 3-tech type, kind of like Levi to take the slack while Levi was injured, and it's just not worked. And he got healthy scratched last year when we were begging for tackles, and it's just not quite worked. And I think with Skylar Gill-Howard coming in now, who is a much more natural pass rusher than what Wingo is, that's going to create issues because Wingo ain't really a nose tackle either, so I don't see where he fits in. So I don't think it's the 3-year rule changing. It's the roster situation. You can't afford to take development projects with you, really. I put Rakestraw at risk this year. If Rakestraw has any injuries in the off-season, bearing in mind he's not played for his first full 2 years, I think, he's in danger because we can't afford to take him this year. We need the corner room to be healthy and deep. So I think you could apply that to a lot of guys, even his top 2 day draft picks. from 3 years ago, so they're all in danger right now. But I think it's a good thing to have. If your roster's that stacked that your rookies can't stay on it, then you're in a good position. So, we'll see. But yeah, I don't think it's been relaxed. It's just a situation with the roster that is changing. Terry goes, the DT from Cal got 300 grand. Don't know much about him. Gonna be honest, I don't either. All I know is I think he's been in college about 5 or 6 years, and he was trying to get another year of eligibility. He's been plagued by injury, so I've heard. But he's been healthy the last 2 years. But yeah, that Cal offense has kind of been its strong point, and on its defense, all the focus has been on the DBs. It doesn't feel like Cal's put out a good D lineman in years. I feel like I would be right in saying that. So yeah, I don't know much either. DC Smithers goes on, Hunter, the only amount he is sure to get is the 25k signing bonus. The 175 roster is only if he makes them 53. Yeah, the contract, it says 3 years, 2 million, whatever. Yeah, the contract is null and void if they don't want him to. I just think it shows that they have faith that he can do it. So, but he's going to have to earn it, but I think he will earn it. I think he will earn it when all is said and done. I believe fully in Eric Hunter, I do. Just got to take 1 minute to look at the kind of person he is and the perseverance and just the sheer amount of effort and hard work he puts in, and his leadership is second to none. Like Malcolm, that will drag him onto the roster, and you'll have Kelvin berating veterans for not working as hard as he is. I foresee him taking that path. I do. All the players we've picked up, who can we pick up in free agency that can make the team? I personally would love Caleb Campbell. Do you mean Calais? If you mean Calais Campbell, he's gone back to Baltimore, so they've re-signed him at 40. If you do mean Caleb Campbell, I apologise. The name just doesn't immediately ring a bell to me. But if you mean Calais, he's gone back to Baltimore. I would take Jadeveon Clowney in a heartbeat. I would still like, DJ Wonnum's fine, but Clowney's the move you make when you want to win now. Give him a year. He's still productive. He's really good against the run. So he could be your early downs edge. And then you could bring in Moore and other guys like that. And plus it gives you a deep rotation as well. But I would love Jadeveon Clowney on the team. Just another vet in that room who's just going to be... He's going to hold up an end for us and do his job really well and allow the others to flourish. And then you can do all sorts of weird packages. And plus... If you've got Clowney in, you can take Hutch off the field for a while, because we keep forgetting Hutch is playing too much football, and we're going to break him eventually, so you kind of want someone like Clowney who can come in and almost take a little bit of a leading role and give Hutch a rest, because at the minute, Wonnum and Moore and guys like that are not taking the focal point off Hutch. That's what we need to do, and Clowney shouldn't cost the world either, so... I would still love Jadeveon Clowney on this team if they were able to do that. Hunter didn't get the reported 3-year, $3 million. I don't know. Gerald posted, and obviously Gerald works at Morgan State. He knows Eric Hunter intimately, so I would assume he knows what the contract is. But we'll see. I'm not entirely sure with it. What time is it there for me? It is midnight. So yeah, it's a bit of a late one, but I'm a night owl. I stay up till about 2 or 3 in the morning. I used to work nights all the time, so my shifts are out of pattern. Plus, it means we've got a show over there which is a bit later for you guys, because our regular shows are 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So doing these Q&As at night means more people can come and check them out. But yeah, nearly midnight, but it's cool. It's really hot at the minute. The weather's gotten really warm here, so I can't sleep when it's hot anyhow, so I'm waiting for it to cool down, which hopefully it should soon. Should have put the question mark to my question. That was what was reported. I can't remember. Yeah, all I know is Gerald reported it, so I would believe him when he said that's the contract he's got, but obviously it's just not very much guaranteed, so they can pull the plug on it if they want to. Antony, the DT we drafted, can you tell us more about them? I assume you mean Skylar Gill-Howard, because Tyre West isn't a traditional defensive tackle per se. I love Skylar Gill-Howard because he's the pass rushing defensive tackle that we've needed. Obviously, having Levi hurt has just really not done us any good over the years, because he was meant to be the guy Along with Aleem, because Aleem can do this, but you need like a specialist. Like we've had a lot of run stuff in defensive tackles over the years. Your nose tackles, like the guys like Tyreek Williams is going to be a great run defender his entire life. But the pass rush upside is limited, so you want someone who can move a little bit better. And Skylar Gill-Howard's that one. He's overcome a hell of a lot of adversity since he came into college. Walk on, didn't really get many offers, and he's really had to fight hard for his opportunities. Got his break in the FBS with Northern Illinois. His 2024 season was fantastic. Nearly 500 reps for him playing near the nose, 29 quarterback pressures, 5 sacks. He's 6'1", 290, so he's a bit on like the smaller side, hence why he's been taken like late in the draft and he didn't get a bit higher. And plus he's coming off injury as well. He's fully healthy now, but he's coming off injury. But all I can tell you is he is an absolute wrecking machine in the middle of the line. Like the pairing with him and Lee Hunter, like at Texas Tech, Lee Hunter is a fantastic run defender, and he will just space eat for days and destroy other teams' run game. Skylar Gill-Howard's the guy who takes advantage of all that chaos, and you get him one-on-one with an interior lineman and he'll beat him. He'll get into the backfield and just cause all sorts of chaos. The sack rating is good. Like he moves so well considering his size and where he's at. Like the pass rush arsenal is very good. He's got a really good swim move on him. Even some hints of a good spin in the middle there. He can get really skinny as well. So those sort of tight A gaps that you try and hit that some of the chunkier guys can't work their way through, he is able to do that. And, he's an absolute menace in that regard. Someone who's going to create a lot of tackles for loss. He's going to get sacks at the next level when he adjusts to it. It's going to be a bit of time for him. Again, he's coming off injury. He's got to adjust to the NFL's interior offensive linemen, which are a lot bigger and a lot better. But he took the jump from the MAC to the Big 12 and took it in his stride. He was fantastic to start this season. For Texas Tech, he didn't look overawed whatsoever, and yes, it was a very good defensive line, and you have to wonder how much that plays into it. But given that he's done it at Northern Illinois as well, the run defense is fantastic because again, it's not just like him taking double teams and being like an obstruction in the middle. It's how he breaks the line of scrimmage and makes those tackles in the backfield, which makes him so good against the run. So. For me, he's very technical, he's tough as nails, and he's got a heart that never, stops going at 150%. And Lions fans will like him really quickly, I think. And again, he just gives us something a little bit different to what we've got on the interior already. Like I say, Tyreek's going to be your 1 tech to 3 tech guy who defends against the run for the next however so long. Aleem McNeil's going to be your star. Skylar Gill-Howard's the guy you bring in on long second and third downs, and your pocket's collapsing, and he's gonna make stuff happen. So another who should belie his round 6 picking. I think you're gonna get a really good rotational guy out of him and a very good situational guy. And again, he's good in both facets of the game. So I think given time, he could develop into the first stringer when all is said and done. He's entering a very good room. Some good vets in there, and not a lot of is required of him right away. You can just use him in more favourable situations, and you can develop him at your pace. So yeah, I love this guy. I love this Skylar Gill-Howard pick. It's tremendous. I wanted Grayson Holton on day 2 because I wanted someone in that mould, and I said if I couldn't get Grayson Holton, I would want Skylar Gill-Howard. So he was second on that list of proper pass rushing DTs. So yeah. I'm absolutely delighted that we managed to get him. So I look forward to seeing him. Just like with Hunter, I'm quite excited about the day 3 guys this year. Some of them, and the UDFAs as well. I think at least 2 or 3 of our UDFAs have a shot if they play their cards right. Yeah, it's 5 hours plus here, so I'm assuming it's nearly coming up on 7 in the evening for you guys there, whereas for me it is a 5 to midnight, but it is all good fun. Sometimes changes to 4, our hour changes before yours does, so I always have that problem when I go on to Dan's shows. I'm used to getting on Dan's show at midday, and when the hour changes, it's 11. So I keep forgetting, and I keep missing the shows. So yeah, I have to remind myself. And Antony, what do you think about the 2 veterans we signed? Are they camp bodies? Right, so that did happen this week, didn't it? Hang on. Let me just get that up, because we did bring a couple more guys in. It was the D-tackle J. Tufele, I believe, and then there was a linebacker, Joe Barkey. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Let's go Backy. Joe Backy. Buck. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. You're looking for depth, I think, at this point. Defensively, you need to get the roster up to 90. The defense is the one that needs the extra bodies this year. I think Tufele's probably been brought in to test some of the younger guys. Certainly, if Wingo doesn't want to be in trouble, then he's going to test him. But Tufele came out in the first draft we really scouted. 6'3", 305, so sort of a little, he's definitely bigger than Gil Howard, sort of in that smaller nose tackle-y type territory. He's been with Aaron Glenn last year, so he'll know our defensive system well enough, because obviously he's worked with Glenn. He's played like 50 games, but there's not many starts, and it's just, yeah, I think they're just taking a look at a guy who could potentially do a little bit more, but I would say they're camp bodies that are just there to sort of press the buttons of our own guys who we're going to get. In terms of Backy, I don't know too much about him. I know he was a Spartan, so Spartans fans will know him. But he's another who's just bounced around a load of teams. He's played like 400 snaps in 6 years. So you're probably looking at special teams. I know he's got like over 1,000 special teams snaps. So yeah, I think you're just primarily looking for depth there. I think we're at, because we've still got like 3 open roster spots, I believe, unless we've signed anyone else since. I don't think we have. So yeah, you'll see a lot of these vets come and go and all that, but I wouldn't envisage that they're going to break the roster to me. There's no way Tufele should make it with all the D tackles we've got, and I would hope Backy didn't make it, because I want Hunter on the roster, and Rolder's got to be fitted on there as well, so I don't know, we'll see, but I don't think much will come of it. TC Smithers goes, I think Kendrick Law will mean the Lions zigging when the league is zagging, such as power runs out of 11 personnel rather than passing out of 12 or 13. Kendrick Law's an interesting one. I've really grown on the idea of him. I didn't really do much on him in the draft process. Kentucky have not been good these last few years, so really, they're looking at their prospects as it's not been one of the highest things on my board. But what Kendrick Law does better than anybody, it's yards after the catch with Kendrick Law. Like, the quarterback play at Kentucky has been garbage for years. Until Cutter Bowley came into the team last year, it's been poor. I think they've gone like 7 years where their starting quarterback was not developed by the team. They just kept getting in transfers who were not really that good. But in Kendrick Law's case, they don't have much of a vertical downfield threat. They don't, press the field. They just do a lot of simple, safe stuff behind the line of scrimmage and rely on their receivers to do all the yards after the catch stuff. And when I think about it with the Lions, we kind of lack that. Like, J-Mo likes to work downfield and across the middle, but again further down. Amon-Ra dominates between the numbers. He dominates all over, but that's his wheelhouse. And Tesla, he likes working on the boundary, doing all the stupidly good catches that he does. In terms of having someone who can work from behind the line of scrimmage on screens and things like that, I think it felt like we've lacked one. We've relied on the running backs and Jameer Gibbs and stuff to do that. I think getting someone like Kendrick Law in, it does give us a skill set we don't have on the team, which is, a specialist, and especially with Petts in, he's running the big formations, as you say, 2 tight ends. We're probably going to see, unfortunately, a lot more in terms of screen passes and perimeter plays and stuff this year. And Kendrick Law makes sense. And again, I don't know how much time he's going to see on the field, but certainly for the right plays, I think you can manufacture some plays for him on screens, and shorter passes where you rely on his yards after the catch ability to make something happen. It could be like Tesla in a way. He doesn't see too much of the field, but he makes the advantage of what you do give him. And plus, no one's going to be looking at him. Not with the front three on the field either. So I do quite like the pick now that the more that I think about it. I'm with you. I would prefer to have picked a different position probably at that point. But at the same time, I do see the vision with him. And I think he's got a lot of potential because he sat at Bama for 3 years, not doing much. And then put in a really tough situation at Kentucky last year. He made his own fortune per se last year. And, I like that. So Lovett will be in trouble with his arrival because he can return as well. I don't think Lovett's going to make the roster this year. I would prefer Kendrick Law because he gives you a bit more as a first teamer, but a guy who can do actual receiving work rather than just special teams. I don't think Lovett's more than a special teamer for us and maybe a returner. So yeah, it wasn't maybe my favourite position at the time, but I'm actually quite behind the Kendrick Law pick now. I think he will surprise people. So yeah, we're going to see a lot more power runs and stuff like that. I think having Borum and Blake Miller in, they'll use all three of them and Penne. You'll see a lot of big packages with all three of them on the field. It's what Chicago used to like to do, especially when they had Fields. They create these big jumbo packages for Fields to be able to go all over the place and, do his scrambling stuff. Except with us, we've got a proper running back who can do it. So it would not surprise me to see them go heavy set a lot more. Lots of tight ends in there. I'm not enamoured with our tight end room. We could have certainly done with a tight end here. So maybe if we're still looking to add in free agency, tight end would be a position of urgency for me to make it work. I don't trust our tight ends right now. And we don't know how healthy Laporta is. So that's one thing they do need to address. Or even a running back there. Maybe. There was to be honest, some really good running backs fell in the draft. And I don't think we got one in undrafted free agency either. Maybe they're not done with it or they're ready to promote Varkey. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen a running back in the building as well. Especially because some of the bigger ones fell. Like Seth McGowan would have been the perfect pick there. The Colts is an absolute wonderful landing spot for him. I think he's going to be a tremendous player there. So, yeah, I think he's going to succeed, but I would like to see them maybe add to the running back room as well, because Pacheco's no more than a 1 yearer for me. They'll ride and then be done with him, because we can't afford to pay him even if he does well. Does Hassanin still count as IPP and therefore an extra roster spot? Ooh, good question. How it worked last year was he did until roster cut downs. Like, as on the 90-man roster now, I believe he counts as IPP, but when they drop it to 53, they can't. If he goes onto the practice squad, I believe they can still use the designation. They were able to last year, even though I didn't think they were able to, but because he's in year 2 now, I don't know if it changes. But I think for now you can, but they can fit him on the 90 anyhow. They've still got 3 spots available, so they don't need to use it, so... But I will have to double check with that whether it still applies to him or not, because he's not really played for us yet. You would assume the more he plays for the team, the more they can't use that designation because it doesn't really count anymore. But I will double check for you with that one. It's an interesting question. Did you hear that Torian York almost signed with the Lions as a UDFA but just chose the Broncos instead? Yeah, that was crazy. Torian York not getting drafted. And again, it was like Malcolm Rodriguez. It's because he's 5'11". And I don't know. You watch Torian York play at Texas A&M. Sorry, I'll not use the abbreviation. I apologise. He's so good. And for me, he was one of the best linebackers in the draft. Like, if you put him up in the top 10 guys who came to the draft, for sure. But it's the league not liking size. 5'11". If he was 6'2", I can guarantee you we'd have gone day 2. So it was crazy to me that he didn't get drafted. Again, it was like Rodrigo. if Rodrigo had a few more inches on him, he'd have gone day 2 as well, given what he did at Oklahoma State. I'm gutted that we couldn't get Towery and York in here, but at the same point, because we've got Eric Hunter, I would rather have had Eric Hunter. Towery and York here would have just created more problems to Hunter getting on the roster. So, but it's a shame we couldn't get our hands on him. And again, so many good players didn't get drafted this year. It was crazy. I actually got asked a question about that on Twitter, which I'll get to in a minute. But Zylo listed out a load of players who didn't get drafted, and he only reached the tip of the spear on that. So much talent didn't get drafted this year. More so, it feels like this was one of the best undrafted free agency classes in years. I think there's going to be a lot of UDFAs make rosters this year and have big impacts on their team this year. It's crazy. But I would have liked to have got him. Liam Reynolds, hope you're doing well. Goes, this has to be the best group of run blocking receivers in the league. Yeah, period. I can't think of anyone better. Like, JMO alone. Oh, like, Amon-Ra we know, but JMO's just different. Like, he hits people hard. Like, some guys, they block with finesse. JMO just puts his head down and bang. Like, he honestly, that's why I love JMO so much. He is one of the most selfless receivers in this league. And plus, he's one of the only receivers who can keep up with some of the guys, like with Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, not many receivers can keep up with Jahmyr Gibbs to block for them, but pretty much every highlight reel running touchdown we've had in the last 2 years, JMO's there throwing the last block before the line. JMO's elite. I would go as far as to say that JMO's a better run blocking wide receiver than Amon-Ra, and I don't mean that as an insult to Amon-Ra. Like, JMO just lives for hurting guys in the run game, and just, he's so selfless. It's what people outside of Detroit don't understand about him and why he's so good. It's just, honestly, you don't see guys like him very often do what they do. But I would agree with you, Liam. It is one of the best group of run blocking receivers in the league, period. Hence why we've been so good at it for most of the years, because, these guys are dedicated to the craft and they don't give up. Terry goes, hopefully it was a more competent training camp and guys played better in preseason. Last year, preseason seemed like guys were not trying. I like that they're not doing joint practices this year. The joint practices seem to have been like a sideshow to themselves, and they've just caused more problems than they've solved. I would like to see players play more in preseason just to get the rust off them. We can argue day and night about whether it's worth it or not, but given we've just had 2 of the worst years in NFL history for defensive injuries, it kind of just goes to show injuries happen whenever. Like, nothing changes these last 2 years if we play some of the defensive starters in preseason, because it got annihilated. For me, it's, you've got to get that cohesion ready, especially the offensive line. Like last year, you're replacing guys on the offensive line. You've got to let them get a feel with one another in a game situation. I know scrimmages, they say it does, but there's nothing like playing an actual game of football to do that. And especially this year, you're going to have a new right tackle. Left guard, you've still got issues at. You've got a new centre here. Tate Ratledge is just going into year 2. Penny's going to be playing at left tackle for the first time since college. So the first time in about 5 or 6 years. Like, you've got a lot of change on that offensive line, and you want them to find a rhythm. So I think you've got to play them a bit in preseason, and you've got to risk the injury. You have to. We can't afford to start the season slow, is what I'm saying. It's like, Dan goes, it takes 4 weeks until they're really up and going. We can't afford 4 weeks. This is a big year for us, and we have to start strong and start as we mean to go on, because we've been going backwards these last 2 years. So, yeah, hopefully, preseason takes a bit more prominence this year. I'm not saying they have to play every game or that, just enough to give them a little bit of cohesion together, because we live or die by our offensive line. And, there's a lot of changes on it this year, so hopefully they let them do that. Agree, Liam Reynolds, that's why I think they will run more out of 11 personnel and use receivers out of the backfield. Yeah, potentially that's what they'll do with Petzing. I'm a fan of that. Establish the run. Just keep going at them, grind teams down, and then when you need to, you've got a load of talented playmakers to throw at. So, yeah, it could be fun. It'd be a lot of fun this year. The tone for last season was set in the tepid pre-season when they weren't really trying to win. Yeah, I've always and always will be a fan of guys playing in the pre-season. Just enough, not loads, but just enough to get them going and ready. Like last year against Green Bay, week 1, we didn't look ready. They looked stronger than us, sharper than us, better than us. I don't know if their starters played or not or whatever, but we didn't look ready last year. And that kind of set the tone for the year, where it was just, we kind of didn't look 100% at any given point. So, yeah, you've got to start as you mean to go on. So, yeah, I hope they do that a bit more there. Right. Caught up with the comments for now. Again, if any questions, anything you want to ask, just get them in the comments and I will get round to them. As I mentioned, Xylo did contact me on Twitter with a list of names, wondering why they didn't get drafted. Some of the names on here: Haynes King, quarterback, Georgia Tech; Diego Pounds out of Ole Miss; Logan Farnu out of Utah; Tyreek Sapp out of Florida; Michael Trigg, the tight end from Baylor; Torian York, we've mentioned; Gillenborg, the Wyoming tight end; Roman Hemby, the Indiana running back; Isaiah World, the tackle from Oregon; Mason Riger, the edge from Wisconsin; Mikhail Kamara, the edge from Indiana; and then Bishop Fitzgerald, the safety from USC. And I looked at this list and I'm like, it's crazy how many of these guys didn't get drafted. Some of them can be explained. Injuries will explain some. Isaiah World has got a torn ACL, and he didn't look particularly good making the jump from the Mountain West to the Big Ten last year. Like, he was struggling before the injury, and then to have a torn ACL on top of it. His build, his size, he's quite slow and clumsy. I can understand why he's not been drafted and teams are waiting for him. The same goes with Mason Riger. I love Mason Riger in the pre-draft process. He's been healthy this year. It's been his best year by far, but he's dealt with a lot of injuries in college. So my thinking is the medicals at the combine have shown something, hence why he's probably not gotten a shot at that. I still think he'll take to the league, but injuries explain some of these. Again, size concerns with some of them. That's why Torian York didn't get drafted, because he's 5'11" at linebacker. People have been put off by the size of him and think that he won't adjust to the league. Mikhail Kamara as well. He's 6'1", playing on the edge. Now, usually that's not a deal breaker for edges, but because his people have been stat watching him, because he went from like 13 sacks to 2 sacks last year. I think people have stat watched with Mikhail Kamara. His role changed at Indiana this year. His role on the defensive front changed. And overall, it was still the best defensive line in football last year because he was the focal point of it and made it happen. Just because he's 6'1", I don't get why he wasn't drafted. And I know there was some talk of injury potentially that happened in the off-season. I've not seen as much, but maybe that has also kind of put something in there as well. But size concerns, certainly for some of them. Some are just downright unexplainable. I mean, Gillenborg's small school, and he had a lot of drop issues, especially at his All-Star game in the path to the draft. I can't remember. I think it was the Shrine Bowl, one of them. I remember his practices. He dropped a ton of balls, which won't have helped him. Trigg has had behavioural issues. Don't get me wrong, he's a damn good receiver as a tight end. But I think it's personality red flags with him. He's been in a lot of trouble in his time. So I think potentially that with him. And then some of the others, it's just, Hemby, I don't know why. He's been a very productive runner in his time. But again, a slight bit undersized. But that doesn't matter for running back. So preference, I don't know. There were no flags against him for me. Bishop Fitzgerald's crazy. I've seen him a lot because he's an NC State guy. He's one of my Wolfpack. And then he went to USC and did even better. I don't get it. Very versatile player, ton of interceptions. Like, we missed him like crazy last year, and USC really benefited from him. So the productivity's there. There's no real size issues with him either. So I would have to defer to someone. I've just no idea why he didn't get drafted at all. Same with Tyreek Sapp, but yeah, there's a variety of reasons in there. Most can be explained, some can't, but you get that every year. Some guys fall who you just can't really find a reason for. So But we don't know a lot of what NFL teams do either, so there may be more to some of these guys' stories. What are my hopes for the schedule? Ooh, hopes for the schedule. That is a very good question. I've never really thought about it in recent years. Let's get the teams up. Let's have a look at the schedule. And just to remind you all of who we're playing next year. Because I can't really remember myself. I have to keep going back to check. So we are playing, excuse me, which conferences are we against this year? We are against the AFC East. Jets, Patriots, Dolphins. No, we're not. Who are we against this year? Let's have a little look. We're against the Giants, the Jets, the Patriots, and should we not be? Oh yeah, we're playing the Dolphins. We are playing the AFC West. My bad. We're playing the AFC West, and we're playing the NFC South. Falcons, Saints, Bucks. Yeah, so playing the AFC West and the NFC South. So we've got away games at Atlanta, Buffalo, Carolina, Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota, Arizona. We've got an extra home game, bearing in mind one of them's going to be in Germany. Obviously Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota. Then we've got New Orleans at home, Tampa Bay at home, Patriots at home, Jets at home, Titans at home, Giants at home. Now the Giants game is rumoured to be the Germany one. Lions, Giants, but we'll see. But overall, it's a fourth place schedule. For me, I would like some tune-up games, let's say, because the Lions do traditionally start a little slower. So I would, in theory, my ideal schedule would be some of the easier teams at home to start it. Say, I would like the Saints. I think the Saints are a good team to play early. The Jets, certainly. It'd be good to get Aaron Glenn back and give him a good ass kicking early in the season. The Titans could be a fun one, because I think the Titans will be a good team, but I don't think they'll be ready right at the start of the season. Certainly the Giants you'd like to have a go at, but I would like maybe one or two of the easier games first. Maybe like a road trip to Arizona. That would be quite good. We're always good against the Cardinals. Or maybe Atlanta with their iffy quarterback situation. I would like to avoid some of the bigger ones like Buffalo on the road. It's not going to be easy. Patriots at home. There'll be no NFC North games early, I don't think. Or, you know, I would like... And again, every given Sunday in the NFL, no game's easy, and it's probably disrespectful to say that, but I would like to have some of the easier on-paper games first, and then get the harder ones later on when we're like fully up to speed and ready to go and the rust is all knocked off. Obviously the Germany game, whenever that is, I'll be happy for that. Thanksgiving. Did we not? Oh, we can't do that because we're away at Buffalo. I was about to say play the Bills again, but because that were a terrific game. But we can't do that. I mean, I've never been as big on who we get. Like, I think someone like one of the bigger home games, like the Patriots, would be fun on Thanksgiving. Green Bay is just boring at this point. Or get the Jets on Thanksgiving and get Aaron Glenn there and, you know, stuff his Thanksgiving turkey for him metaphorically and physically. And I would like some NFC North games early. I would. They keep too many of the conference games too late in the season, and I don't like it. Like, I think it was last year or the year before, like 5 of the last 6 weeks were conference games. We only have 1 in the first 2 months, and it's like, come on, get a bit of that rivalry going early. I would like to get the Bears early so we can kick their ass and re-establish the dominance over them, because their fans have become entirely too mouthy lately. So I would like to get the Bears early as well. So yeah, my ideal one, let's say, away at Arizona to start the season, and then at home to the Titans and then the Bears. Would do that. And we get a nice bye week as well, because apparently we might not get one after the international break. So here's wondering about that. But yeah, I think it's just going to be fun in hopes for the schedule. I love the schedule, and we'll see what it has in store. But yeah, I would like a couple of easy games early. But if we got to go to Buffalo first up, then so be it. It is what it is. Trial by fire and all that stuff. Mile Marker's in the chat. He goes, I'm late, but hello, Ant and chat. Hope you're doing well, Mile Marker. Your boy been getting in some trouble today, Mile Marker, and making me look bad. So, you need to apologise for that one. I managed to find a tweet yesterday bigging up Drake Lindsay and how he was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football next year, and I had him as a top 5 guy. And then he went and got himself arrested today. So, yeah, thanks for that. Your boy has made me look really stupid there. So, yeah, Drake Lindsay got arrested today. That is not good for the Gophers. It's not serious, I don't think, but at the same point, I've really been flying the flag for him. 6'5", like, man's a monster, got a great arm to him. If he does well this year, the Golden Gophers are going to be a fantastic team, but yeah, your boy's in trouble today, Mile Marker, and he's made me look bad. Jonathan Anton's in the chat, hope you're doing well. Terry goes, world injury must be super bad. Torn ACL, and for guys his size, like, he's massive. The bigger you are, the worse it is, because the more weight you're putting on those knees, and from a height as well, so... but it didn't help that he wasn't playing well before either. He didn't take the jump up to the... He didn't take the jump well to the Big Ten. He was playing at Nevada before. At Nevada, he was a monster, but Mountain West, a lot easier than the Big Ten. So, it swings in roundabouts and all. Yeah, AFC East and AFC South, like it doesn't list them in terms of conferences who you're up against. I had to do mental arithmetic in my head very quickly. I'm not American, so it's harder for me to do the arithmetic sometimes. In terms of where all your cities are and everything, and where they are all at. Titans are going to be damn good this year. Anthony Hill Jr. I knew that was coming. When that draft pick was made, I thought, yeah, he's probably going to like that one. He gets Robert Saleh. I guess he's absolutely delighted about that. I tell you what, the Titans draft was low key really good this year for me. They did a good job, and they got some really good free agents as well. And they got some tremendous value. Like, those trenches are going to be so good this year. Keldrick Falk and Anthony Hill Jr. going into that front 7. You got Pat Coogan as a steal at centre. You got Fernando Carmona. He's played left tackle, left guard. Nicholas Singleton will be a home run hit there. Like, the Titans low-key had a very good draft. Yeah, Anthony Hill under Robert Saleh he'll flourish. He'll do really well, and it's we'll be a very good defensive team this year. So yeah, he should have a lot of good opportunities. Jets Lions Thanksgiving game there, that would be fun. Getting Aaron Glenn back to Detroit. Potentially by then, if they're doing bad enough, it could be the game that sees him done. I don't think he's going to get 2 years. So if they struggle this year, we'll see. But yeah, it would be fun. Just not the Packers, please, or the Bears. It's just boring having an NFC North rival on Thanksgiving. Let's jazz it up a bit. Like I say, I think we did Buffalo on Thanksgiving a few years ago, or was it Christmas? I feel like it was Thanksgiving, and it was an absolute barnstormer. It was brilliant, and a game we should have won. I'm just playing Forza Horizon 4 tonight and listening to you, Antony. Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you dropping in with me on this Friday evening. I didn't know if, especially now the draft is done, I know a lot of people tune out for a while, so I didn't know if many people would come on. Obviously, I'm just trialing these Q&As. If it gets to a point where they're really quiet and no one's here, I'll stop doing them until the season starts, but it seems like you guys are still interested in it, so we will keep them going. The other sort of question I got asked, because again, most weeks before doing this, I will put posts out. So if you want anything pre-doing, I will do that for you. But Grandizer, not seen him around this evening, but he did ask about the scheme fit for our new rookies. I know he was talking about Ryder McConville, who does that on his channel. I have deferred to greater powers that be on scheme fit, because scheme is never... It's not my, I'll say strong point. I'm just not really as interested in it as some other people are. Like, I like good players, not scheme fits. So I have delegated that. We're going to do So one of the big changes, that the blog is getting revamped. We're going to be doing a lot more blog posts. Ash and Paul primarily. Me and Matt will chip in every now and then. But one of them, I can't remember who, might be Ash, might be Paul. They are going to do a comprehensive written piece about how the new rookies are going to fit in our potential scheme, because of course we don't know what the scheme's going to be yet. Loads of rumours that it's changing, that they are going to do something a bit different this year, but those two know what they're talking about a lot more than me, Grandizer. So I'll tag you in it when it's done, but yeah, one of the guys is going to do a proper scheme fit article, so keep an eye out for it. It'll be good. They're both great writers. They both know what they're talking about when it comes to scheme, more so than me. So yeah. If you want small school prospects out of college football or something like that, that's my bag, not scheme stuff. Unless it's something, I only take an interest in scheme if it's unique and different, like Brennan Marion's go-go offense and stuff like that. I'm in love with alternative schemes and defensive minds of thinking. But when it comes to regular stuff, yeah, not really my bag. Maybe Pats on Thanksgiving. Yeah, the Pats will be good on Thanksgiving. I think that will be, to be honest, one of the most fun ones. It should be a really good game, that, and you know, Vrabel's team play as hard as we do. Those trenches are really well done, so I think it would be a good test for us as well, and something a little bit different. So yeah, I think the Pats will possibly be my favourite matchup on Thanksgiving, but whether they will do that or not, I don't know. But the schedule it's not easy next year. Going to Carolina, I love Carolina. Had a fantastic draft. They're an ascending team. Going to Buffalo is never easy. The Falcons, it's always cardiac cats. We seem to, like, every game against the Falcons seems to come down to the last play of the game. They're not pleasant at all. Obviously, the 3 road NFC North games are never easy. The home schedule is pretty good this year. There's only the Pats I look at and go, we might have trouble there. The rest, the Giants, the Titans, the Jets, the Bucs always give us trouble, but they're rebuilding at the minute. The Saints, the Vikings, the Packers, the Bears. Yeah, I don't envision us having much trouble at home this year, apart from with the Pats. So we'll see. We'll see with that one. Right. Sorry, just checking Schefter's latest tweet, make sure it is not Lions related, but I don't think we've got any news coming out soon unless a contract is done. Keith Abney, the 2 should be able to push for a big role with us. Yeah, I love the Keith Abney pick. It's one of those, I didn't really think about it in the pre-draft process, but obviously Ryan is an Arizona State fan. Ryan has spoken about Keith Abney over the years. Ryan loves Keith Abney, and I do as well. In terms of what he brings to the team, what we don't have already, it's that physical presence on the line of scrimmage. Like the Arizona State defenders are nasty, and I know that much because I watched my guy Rocco get nearly killed by one of them last year. They hit you and you stay down. They just play this physical brand of football, especially their DBs. Like they almost teach them to kill players in a legal way. And Abney at the line of scrimmage, you watch him play when he's up in press. Like, he just gets up in receivers' grills. He makes life genuinely uncomfortable for them, and you can see they don't like playing against him. And for years I've complained the Lions' corners are not good at the line of scrimmage. Up in press, we make life way too easy for receivers against us. Think of the amount of receivers who've had career days and 100-yard games and stuff against us because it's just too easy. We need someone who's going to upset opposition receivers, someone who's going to keep hitting them until they don't want to face him anymore. And yes, that kind of tactic does come with flags occasionally, and he has been known to be a little grabby, but we certainly needed an element of physicality put into our corner room. And he's going to be it. And, you know, I've seen a lot of people say he's going to play inside because of his size, but just bear in mind, he's never played the slot before. He didn't play the slot. He played outside corner at Arizona State. That's all he's ever done. I would like to see us go with that there, because we've got McCreary to play in the slot. We can use Abney as this physical outside press guy just to make receivers' lives uncomfortable, and he's something we don't have on this roster, and against consensus and general opinion, he was way underdrafted. way underdrafted. I don't know what happened with him again. Maybe I think why he went in the 5th, it's his size and the fact he's never played in the slot before. Guys at his size, a lot of teams just throw him into the slot corner position. He's never played there, and he's undersized. So that's probably what's gone against him in the process there. But it's like Pons. I play Pons on the outside. I don't give a damn about his size. He's really good as a perimeter corner, and I think he would succeed there in the NFL. So I hope they give him the opportunity to play outside. Obviously, we've got Reed and Arnold, but yeah, you want someone who can upset the opposition and get them off their game. Keith Abney will do that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Keith Abney coming to Detroit. Yeah, he's going to upset a lot of people, and he's going to make us really happy. Did you already mention your thoughts on no rookie camp? I didn't. I don't mind. I don't think. Given the amount of injuries we've had over the years, I can get them wanting, because they're not doing as many OTA days either, are they? I think they're doing 2 less than they are allotted. I can get having less physical practices. You want the practices towards the start of the season. Right now, the earlier ones, I'm not too fussed if they miss those, because it's a long season. It's an extra game to what it was a couple of years ago. Obviously, we want to make a deep playoff run. I think saving the guys a little bit at the beginning is ideal. And the rookies, I think the rookie minicamps used to be really important because the guys were going to start right away. Most of these players we've got in the draft, outside of Miller, are not going to start this year. We're going to work them into the team and rotate them in gently and eventually work their way up. So I don't know if it's the biggest need for them in life to have to get a crash test course to get a starting position ready for it. So I don't mind. And again, I really don't mind the fact there's no joint practices either. So I'm all for them taking it just a little bit more easy on the bodies to start with, because we've got to mitigate as many possibilities of getting injuries this year as possible. We need to find ways to stay healthier, and I don't mind that. So yeah, I don't mind them not having that there. Are you surprised that Cam Jordan hasn't been signed yet? Figured it would be after the draft. No, there's quite a few players who've not signed yet. Obviously, free agents will still be looking at rosters because teams are still making moves at the minute with the undrafted free agent guys and that. And a lot of vets don't like to go to OTAs. And Cam Jordan especially, he's 37, 36? So, if you sign before OTAs, you've technically got to go to OTAs and mandatory minicamp and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not surprised he's not signed. A lot of these guys, especially when you get as old as him, they'll want to wait it out. So it would not surprise me if he signed somewhere closer to the start of the season. Don't forget, he's given his entire life to New Orleans, and he's always gone through the process and done what he has. So I wouldn't blame him if he waited. So no, and I don't think it's an indictment on him either. A lot of players are just going to be sitting and waiting because you've also got to look for an opportunity to start, right? Injuries happen, players fall off, trades are still made, so there might not be an opportunity for him right now to start somewhere, but in 2 months' time there might be. And if he signs now to a team where he doesn't get an opportunity when he could go elsewhere, it would be silly for him because he's not going to be playing much longer and he'll want to play as much football as he can. So no, I'm not surprised at all. He will wait, and rightly so. Just as long as it's not Detroit, because I am not a biggest fan of guys sitting out like that. I'd rather, in our situation, get him in the building as soon as possible. But yeah, not for surprised. Isn't Abney more of a zone corner when he plays outside? Yes, you're right. Technically he is. And again, I don't know what we're going to do this year. There's a lot of talk about them going to more of a 3-man front, playing 5 DBs and bits like that. And, we're going to have to move guys around initially. Given whatever happens with Branch's injury, you're going to have to rotate guys around a little, maybe play him out of position. I don't know what packages they're going to do for him, but I think he will stick on the outside regardless. But yeah, you are right. He does play more of a zone when he's outside. But again, until we get some snippets of what they're going to do, and that won't be until the season starts, we just don't know unless someone can figure it out as time goes on. But I think he can see playing time this year for sure. Again, we need someone who can play press, and he's that. Most of the other guys can't, at least not very well. So again, he's another whose work ethic I would expect to boost him further up the depth chart than people think by the time the season starts. I think he low-key could be one of the big surprises. I mean, a lot of them could be, to be fair, but he especially will be. Arizona State were a zone-heavy team, but when they wanted to match someone up in press man, it was almost always Abney. Yes, it was. But again, they're quite versatile with how they use their DBs there. But as I say, they're all built in the same mold. They're all tough as nails. That's you wanted more of a gritty backbone on this team this year, and he's been healthy predominantly for the most part as well. Arizona State's defense it's just one of those that never really got much love, but it's been a lot better than people realize. Obviously, everyone focuses on the rushing offense and whatnot, and don't forget that he has to deal with that in training all the time. You think of that litter of running backs who've come off that team having to practice against them every year. He's very battle tested against the run. You imagine having to stop the likes of Scat and Udo and all those guys. They've produced an NFL draft pick every year at running back. So it's even training, but in the Big 12 in general, it's a tough conference. It's a very, very tough conference. Defenders who come out of there are really well built. So when are you guys doing roster predictions? That is a good question. Bear with me one moment. I will have a little look-see because we've done our schedule. Well, we've started our schedule over the last couple of days. Obviously, it's too far out to look at the minute, but I can check when we did them last year and give you a rough estimate of when we'll do it. Where are we at? See, we've got a pod diary which goes back 5 years now, so it is tough. Where are we? OTA recap 1, no show, free agency, what we want, 5th anniversary, roster predictions. Last year we did them. Was it roster predictions you asked about? Yeah, roster predictions. We did it last year. January, February. 21st of August we did them last year. It just precedes roster cut downs. We do them quite close. We don't I mean, I think sometimes we might do if you want us to do an early one, then we can. But we wait till generally about a week before roster cut downs happen. So it was the 21st of August last year. Our show is slated to be on the 17th. So roster cut down day is going to be somewhere around the 25th of August. So we'll probably do it about the 17th, something like that. So about halfway through August is what I'm trying to say. But if you want us to do an early react one, I'm sure one of the guys will be happy to oblige you on that and try. Because trouble is, we have a lot of starters sorted this year. The roster predictions were fun in year 1 and year 2 because you didn't have a clue. Literally anyone could have made the roster. Now a lot more of it is solidified. But yeah, about halfway through August is the answer to that one. Antony, what are your thoughts on giving Gibbs year 5 but not Campbell? If I was Campbell, I would test free agency. I think we need to stop signing guys or we'll not be able to field a full team. It's a very interesting one. The fact that they gave it to Gibbs and not Campbell is not surprising. So Jahmyr Gibbs' one is worth about $14.25 million. I mean, it's a lot for 1 year for a running back, but for someone of Gibbs' caliber, he's going to be earning a lot more when he gets paid. So I can fully understand them doing that. $22 million a year for Campbell, I think it is excessive. It's quite high, and you have to bear the cap hit of the year 5-1 that year. So if we just did the 5th year, we'd have to take $22 million of cap hit that year, which is quite high. And given our given the constraints on our cap right now, it's probably not the most ideal situation. Obviously, with all big deals, the Lions love to front load them, so they don't cost you much over the first couple of years to keep that cap pressure off for a little while. So I can understand doing it for Gibbs. Running back's a lot more of a volatile position, depending on when they do the long-term deal with him. If he gets hurt badly or tails off or whatever, you're kind of protected with it. But with Campbell, he's obviously going to be here for a long time. There's no way I think they let him get to free agency. If you're ranking the guys to re-sign from the 23 class, it's Campbell at the top by a long shot. Like, you'd let two of the other guys go before you let Campbell go. And I expect he'll be the first deal to be done, given that they've not done the 5th year either. They'll not let him reach free agency. And plus we've got the 5th year on him, so we've got 2 more years of team control, even if it all did go tits up. We've got 2 more years of team control on him before anyone can even have a sniff at him yet. I do agree with the overall point, though. Paying all our guys is a problem. When we've seen it this year, we can't pay any of the veteran free agents, and we can't pay our veterans because all the money's going to the youngsters. That's fine, but it's going to create an imbalance eventually. We annoyed Anzalone, we annoyed Decker, we annoyed Montgomery, and these have been some of our cornerstone pieces of this build. The guys who've given everything to this team for a long time, but all the money going to the core means money is sparse elsewhere. So there is an argument to be had about not paying all 4 of them, and I 100% get it. I also have that concern. I don't want our budget to be put into 15 core guys for the next 6 or 7 years and not be able to field a competitive team otherwise, because we have to bargain bin in free agency, basically. We've got to hope that Roger McCreary becomes the player that we can. We have to hope that Christian Isian's going to have the best season of his career. We've got to hope that Isaiah Pacheco is over his injuries, which have plagued him for the last 2 years. There's a lot of hopes that you've got to rely on, and even if they come good and they do well, you can't afford to pay them when you hit free agency next year. You've got to do it again, and it's just too much of a gamble going on loads of cheap free agents every year and hoping you hit on enough that you have a complete roster. That is the downside of paying so many of your own rookies. So each side has its merits. I get building your core through the draft. I get paying your own guys. It's what you do, but you do have to be careful. And if someone like Jahmyr Gibbs or Jack Campbell starts asking for too much money, you do have to consider the alternatives. You do have to be careful that you don't go too high with them, because obviously you got Branch and Laporta to pay as well, and all your other guys like Amon-Ra and Penne, they'll be coming up for new deals soon. I think Penne's extension you're looking at in 12 months' time. You're going to look at starting to renegotiate Penne because his contract is cheap now. He'll want more money, especially playing at left tackle. So yeah, there's a big debate to be had about where you go with the entire 23 class and whether you can afford to pay them or not. But yeah, you just can't go blindly all in on your rookies. You've got to save some money to get vets in the team and around, because they're the ones that get you to the Super Bowl, the depth that they provide. So yeah, it's a tough one for sure. But back to your original point, I'm not surprised that Gibbs got the 5th year and Campbell didn't. It makes sense in terms of their long-term futures and what you're going to do with them. So yeah, no issues there. When does the schedule release? In about 2 weeks. I think last year it was the 14th of March. So we're predicting it's going to be in about 2 weeks' time, or within the next 2 weeks. They'll start leaking them in about a week, probably, unless they bring the schedule up this year. Because obviously they've started leaking some of the international games already. But I would say conservative estimate is about 2 weeks. We've planned to do the schedule release show, or our reaction to it, in it's 2 and a bit weeks from now. So 2 weeks on Monday, we've got our schedule release show planned. Or the first of 2. Because as always, we split it down into 2 shows, because we break each opponent down individually. Our first 7 unique opponents, and then our second 7 unique opponents. We go through the draft classes, the free agency. We go in depth on all of them. So yeah, I'd say somewhere in the next 2 weeks, Lisa. That's where we're about at. Top 5 roster, Lions Super Bowl bound. I love the optimism, Joseph. Love the optimism. We do have a good roster. For me, it's mental. It's not talent problem. It's mental. Can they take can they have the mentality of winners? We're not an underdog anymore. No matter what anybody says, we are not an underdog. We are a great team. We have one of the biggest young cores in the entire league who are now coming into their prime. We have a wonderful head coach. We have a great quarterback. Can we deal with the pressure? Because we buckled to the pressure against the 49ers in that second half. I get it where the team was at the time. You can understand it because they overachieved massively that year. Overachieved massively, but then the next year against Washington, first round, you're at home, you're expected to win. They buckled under the pressure, and people might say injuries, but you still should have beaten them. And then this year, we buckled again, and we had a lot of opportunities to make the playoffs. You think the Pittsburgh games like that, where it's just, we should not have lost to Pittsburgh. I never even contemplated the idea we were going to lose to Pittsburgh last year, and they did. Which, for me, it's just questioning, can they mentally take the next hurdle as winners? You've got to have a winner's mentality. You can have an underdog mentality, but eventually it's got to change into a winner's mentality. And that, for me, is where they've struggled. When they have expectation on them and they become favourites and they lose that underdog, backs to the wall, gritty situation, they've not been able to adapt. So, it's... But we should be super. But if we can get over that mental hurdle, we can start putting some of these big situations away and start winning when we're expected to and not succumb to the pressure. We sure as hell can make the Super Bowl this year. Absolutely. So, yeah, hopefully we can be Super Bowl bound. Yes, DC Smithers, between May 12th and 14th. So, yeah, about 10, 12 days away. So within the next 2 weeks, we should know. We should certainly know. Not surprised that Gibbs probably will franchise tag him for the next few years. That's actually not a bad idea. I know they'll want to long-term him, but I'm not comfortable paying Jahmyr Gibbs 22 or 23 million a year as is projected. So people quote the top running back contracts right now. There's 2 of them. There's Saquon and there's Derrick Henry. I believe it's those 2. They both earn $20 million a year. They're both on 2-year deals, so they are shorter deals, less risk attached to them, less money invested in them technically overall. So for me, they don't represent the actual market. It's the long-term value of the market. And the next tier of running backs after them 2 are about 16 million a year right now, give or take. 15, 16 million a year are the next 2 biggest contracts after them. I just don't feel good paying Jahmyr Gibbs like 23 million a year when the next long-term deals are starting at about 16. I love him. He's going to set all the franchise records in the world. He probably deserves to be paid that, but again, if you're going to do it long-term and give him a lot of money, you've got to reduce the amount of guaranteed, because running back is such a volatile position. You've just got to be careful that you don't commit too much guaranteed money to him. Give him the opportunity to earn it, fine, but don't commit too much guaranteed to it, because it's a lot to go 7 million up over the next consensus. And again, I'm not taking Saquon and Derek into account. If you're doing him 2 years at 23 million a year for Gibbs, I'll pay him that over 2 years because it's less long-term risk. But they won't. They'll give him 4 or 5 years. So you've got to flex it to expectation. So if they use the tag, I'm fine with that. But they won't use the tag, I don't think. But in an ideal world, I'd do that as well. Is the cap hit so high because some linebackers are edges as well? Yeah, no. The line, in terms of Campbell's, it's just top 6 in the league. I don't know how they... Again, it's one of those... I think they do count outside linebackers as linebackers. I think outside and inside need to be 2 different things. Because I think, Warner's one of the... No, not be Warner. Who would be the biggest paid at the minute? I can't think off the top of my hand. But yeah, I think there is a thing about outside and inside linebackers being in the same bracket when they shouldn't be. But that is why it's quite high. Yeah, they just need to separate it. There are 2 clear, distinct differences between them, and they shouldn't be there. How will the Detroit Lions handle an international game? Last one they got smashed hard by KC 2015 in London. They should be able to handle it fine. Like, they're professional athletes. If you can't, I mean, you think about it, a plane ride to Germany, it's not that much different from a plane ride to LA. Yeah, I know, you're in a completely different time zone. Yes, you're still in the same country, but it's no different to a trip to the... I mean, obviously it's a bit shorter going to LA than Germany, but you should be able to deal with it. Germany's a fantastic atmosphere as well. Like, the fans go absolutely nuts there. So if you're not G'd up to go into that type of environment and play good football, then I don't know what is. Like, it's better than going to Wembley, let's say. And plus, I wanted them to be in England, but the German stadiums are built better for noise retention and for atmosphere. They're absolutely insane. So I would like to think they will deal with an international game very well. And it's going to be fun. Hopefully we'll see some of you there. Well, we're hoping we'll be going over. We've got to see yet, but we should be there. So if any of you are coming to it, let us know. We'd love to meet you all, so it'll be good stuff. We have the bargain bin because that's who Holmes is. We have the bargain bin because we have cap restraints, Lisa, unfortunately. And, if we want to go down the route of drafting a young core, this is the problem with it. Like, there are downsides to every method of building an NFL team. You can go all in and pitch it in all early and risk financial ruin for 3 or 4 years and do it quick, or you can do it slower, hit on a load of draft picks, pay them a load, but then you've got to really manage the roster around them because you're committing yourself to a hold. It's almost drafting too well. He's almost drafted too well. We've not drafted the guys who command smaller deals like like Campbell 22. Like, why couldn't we got a linebacker in the 5th round and pay them $6 million a year? We've hit on top tier products at every position. Aleem, top paid DT. Amon-Ra, top paid wide receiver. They were taken in rounds 3 and 4. Brad's problem is he's not picked enough mid players. Like, he's just picked elite players who demand elite wages. If he could just hit on some more picks who get smaller, middle-sized contracts, that would be awesome. So, yeah, it is a bit of an oxymoron, but yeah, he's drafted too well, that's his problem, but we want these guys to stay. I don't want to see Jahmyr Gibbs on another team, I don't want to see Aleem McNeil, I don't want to see any of these guys on another team, really, so... we have to take the bargain bin because we can't afford to put money towards vets, like serious money towards them, and we can't afford to retain them if they come here cheap and play well and want more money. That is the world we live in, unfortunately, but I don't think Brad's doing it deliberately. Brad is the best I've seen in Detroit. Yeah, he is. GM-wise, he has. He inherited a really bad situation here, and I know he's human, he makes mistakes, but overall... he's done far more good than bad for this team. We're expecting to go to the Super Bowl this year. We never had those expectations. Now every year we expect to compete. He's redefined the expectations here completely. And yeah, he's human. But I wouldn't trade him for anyone else. I wouldn't trade another GM for him. So, same with Dan. I don't ever want Dan to leave. I want Dan to be the head coach for the rest of his time. Like, until he retires. I just can't imagine this team without Dan being in charge. Either of them. Thoughts on Antony, Lucas and Eric O'Neill. I love Eric O'Neill. I think he's got a good chance of... well, I say a good chance. They'll keep him on the practice squad. But I think he'll surprise a lot of people. He's one of those who played at all 3 levels of college football. He started in the FCS for Long Island. Came up to the group of 5 with James Madison, then went up to the Power 4 with Rutgers, and he was fairly productive for his entire career. Like, he was great as a Shark. As a Duke, he was tremendous. He wrecked the Sun Belt the year before last, and then obviously got his big move. Rutgers, it didn't kind of work out for him last year, but that Rutgers defensive line was not good last year, period. They're more known for their DBs. It was tough for him to adapt to the level, but as the season went on, he got more comfortable. He looked like he was adjusting to it. And I quite like him. I think he's a very productive pass rusher who's got really good build. It's just, I guess, the lack of production at the highest level which has hurt him, but he's always adapted eventually. I would expect him to... He's a dark horse to make the roster. Like, Eric Hunter's not a dark horse for me. He's a favourite to make the roster. Eric O'Neill's one of the dark horses to make the roster for me. I mean, it's going to be very tough for him to get there. He'll have to play out his mind on special teams. I would expect him to start on the practice squad, but he's been fun to watch over the years. And again, I like players who work their way up through the system and keep adapting to their level of competition. They're the ones who got the best outside shot of making a roster because they're used to having to prove people wrong and step up. So I really like him. Anthony Lucas I don't know as much about. I know he was a very highly prized recruit at USC and it didn't kind of go the way they wanted it to. He's got the athletic upside without having the production that Eric O'Neill has. If you combine Lucas's athletic profile and build with Eric O'Neill's production, then you'd have a starting edge. That's why these guys go to undrafted free agency. They're not complete. But in terms of giving the edge depths a good run for their money, like these two will work them very hard. I know Eric O'Neill will certainly work the depth guys hard. Like even like Hassanin. Hassanin's going to have to play really well to get on the roster. But that's the kind of competition you want. You want these guys to push one another. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them both on the practice squad and getting elevated during the season. So, yeah. Eric O'Neill, he's a real dark horse for me in this. I do enjoy him. Lisa goes, Penny is under contract and he may want to change his contract, but the players know when they sign. Why is it they've been extended when they're extended? In terms of Penny's contract, they're getting to the second half of it now. They'll want to reduce his cap hits, plus he's going to be here for the rest of his career. So, again, it'll be a case of, if you want to do it early to move money down the way and reduce the cap hits as they're getting bigger now, they'll do that. It's just how things work. And plus, if he does well this year, it's positional value. If he makes a living at blindside left tackle this year, they get paid more than right tackles. It's the market. And you've got to adapt to the market. Like, Penny's deal's stupidly good at the minute. Like, it might be the best value deal in the NFL, what we paid Penny. So, of course, we're going to have to pay for it eventually. He is the franchise. He's the cornerstone of the franchise. Like, if there was one player on this roster you didn't want to lose, period, it's him. And, he is worth it. So, I would expect them to redo it. And it's just the way the game goes. Teams bail on players all the time early in the contracts. So, you can't blame players for sort of doing it in reverse. How many of the new guys even make the team? 6, 7. Does that mean draft picks as well? Or undrafted free? I assume you mean all. Obviously, Miller will make it. Moore will make it. Abney will make it. Rolder should make it. Although, again, I love Hunter that much. I think he's going to give him trouble. Skylar Gill Howard will make it. I don't think Tyre West will. I'm missing somebody. Which draft pick am I missing? Oh Lord, why am I forgetting people? Kendrick Law. Kendrick Law should make it as returner. That's 6. I feel like I'm forgetting someone here. Hang on, I apologise. I should know these. I should know the draft picks off by heart now. But, it is a late night here, so, I'm going to have to... Where are we? Blake Miller, 1. Derek Moore, 2. Rolder, Rolder will probably make it 3. Abney, 4. Kendrick Law should make it 5. Skylar Gill Howard, 6. I'm not sure about Tyre West. So that's 6. Undrafted free agents. I will bet my bottom dollar that Hunter makes it. So that's 7. And then... I think it would take injury for someone else to make it. I think a lot will make it to the practice squad and they'll see game time this year. I don't think they'll make the roster. Eric O'Neill would be one. Oh, God, who else? I really like Rucker, the South Florida corner. but he'd probably go to the practice squad. I'd say 7 conservatively. I'm not sure Tyre West makes it. I'm just not that sold on him, really. He's not played much football. He's never had a massive role on the team, and we've got a lot of depth at those positions. So I'm not sure he makes it. So I'm going to say 7. 6 to 7. Six draft picks and 1 undrafted free agent. That's my prediction there. Who do you think got better in the NFC North and who didn't? That's interesting. Who has gotten better? Hang on. So the Bears draft was really good, I think. Well, their early draft was good. Green Bay Packers. If we're talking draft, who got better? So it is. I don't think the Packers got better. I don't think the Packers drafted one single starter out of their draft. And I know they didn't have the first round pick, but even I don't think Brandon Cisse is going to start for them. I don't really think much to Chris McClellan. Dennis Sutton, I don't think is going to start. They've just signed Van Ness to a new deal, or they've used a tag on him or whatever. Damani Jackson, I don't think he's going to start. Oh, they did. They got a kicker. They got Trey Smack, but I'm not sure the Packers have got better with their acquisitions in free agency as well. I think at best they've broken even, but I think, at worst, they have regressed. I don't really like what they did with theirs. In terms of Minnesota, if I just go through theirs again, Minnesota got better. Minnesota had I hate to say it, I love Minnesota's draft, and it starts with those tackles. You put Caleb Banks and Big Citrus on that defensive line. I can't tell you how much I hate that. If Caleb Banks becomes half the player that they think he's going to be, pairing him with Big Citrus is going to be a nightmare to run on. Those two together, because Kenny Clark was the one I always was scared of in the NFC North. Kenny Clark was always great against us for the Packers, and he could wreck our day when he wanted to, especially in the early years. But the fear I have of Banks and Orange is substantial. Because I've watched Dominique Orange's entire career. He's a cyclone. I've watched him as long as I've watched Rocco Becht, which is years. And Banks just has freaky upside. Obviously, it depends on the injury with him. But the Vikings got a lot better because they've potentially stopped us being able to run on them as easy, and that just makes life so much harder. Add to that, you've put Jake Golday in there as well. He's one of those outside, Brian Flores is going to love him. He did a lot of pass rush at Central Arkansas, but he's also played on the inside as well. Having him and Ivan Pace are both legitimate blitzing threats, and you've put 2 big men in the center of that defensive line. Their defense got so much better. They put Charles Demings in there as well, I think. They got Damon Claiborne. They got Caleb Tiernan. Theirs was an absolutely tremendous draft, and I do worry about what their defense is going to be going forward. For the Bears, obviously Tyneman broke Paul's heart, but outside of that, obviously they've lost their starting centre. They have massively had to downgrade on their starting centre. They've still got problems at left tackle. Trapio's not going to be ready for next year. And again, outside of Tyneman, I don't think they drafted many starters, maybe guys to develop going forward, but I think overall it was meh. So I think in order, I'd say the Vikings got a lot better. The Bears maybe got slightly better, did their depth well, and the Packers, for me, regressed. So that's who I think did well and who didn't. Experimenter's in the chat. Hope you're doing well. He goes, good evening, Ant et al. Thanks again for devoting your time for us. I've been working but listening along. Thanks to everyone who's asked such great questions. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm not going to lie. I thought I was going to be in here on my own this evening. Because when the draft comes and gone, everyone's fatigued from the draft, and you're about to enter the off-season. There's a whole dead patch. A lot of people just love to switch off and take some time away from it. So I didn't know if if many people were going to be in the building this evening, but it's been quite fun. I'm at nearly an hour and 40. So yeah, appreciate all of you who've been in, all of you who are listening. Of course, you guys who listen to the pod are tremendous, and we love you all. I cannot say that enough. But Lisa goes, on the ball and off the ball. Hutch is an on the ball linebacker. Jack is an off the ball linebacker. Yeah, going back to the whole pairing them as what they should for 5th-year contracts. It needs redoing. Liam Reynolds goes, one of the reasons they've had to give out so many 1-year deals is Brad has been too willing to trade away picks that should be filling out the back end of the roster. Yeah, you're right, and unfortunately the lack of progression from the day 3 guys, you're right, has hurt us. By this point, we would be expecting Manu to be contributing now going into this year. We'd expect Varkey to be contributing in the first team going this year. Obviously, we would have hoped Broderick would have been the guy at nose tackle by now. Wingo and Frazier and all guys like this. We've just had no productivity from the day 3 picks whatsoever, really. And the ones that we have, like Mahogany, have been plagued by injury. So you are right, like the lack of hits on day 3 in the draft has affected our depth. Obviously, we can make more quality depth by drafting guys and developing them the way we want them. And yeah, it's just not worked. So, but that's why I like what he's done this year. He's stopped being, I'm not going to say clever, but we've not had as many of the project guys this year and the what they could be. We've taken guys with proven production and guys who really, and he's changed the way he's drafted. Like in Skylar Gilhoward and Derek Moore, he has prioritised guys who can rush the passer, not just be run defenders. And I was screaming for that before the draft. So I'm glad that Brad did that. He's changed his ethos a bit, and he's gotten to what worked for him in those first couple of years. The day 3 picks had more of an opportunity because they were very experienced, had a lot of production, and yes, they had some issues like Malcolm with his size and bits like that, but he took very gritty players who were willing to prove people wrong. These last couple of years, he's taken project players who can be finesse guys and, a bit out the way, and it's just not worked. So you're right. Not being able to nail day 3 has hurt us a bit, and that's why we've had to draft more guys in to fill the depth. You are right for that. Though he did much better being patient this year. Yeah, he did. And as I say, he picked the right type of guy this year. Outside of Kendrick, I mean, Tyre West is a project, but it's round 7. You take projects then. Outside of that, the guys have got good productivity for the most part. Excuse me. But they fill a purpose on this team as well. They all fill a purpose. They're not just swings and hope. All these guys have their own roles. And Kendrick Law is something we've not got at receiver. So yeah, I like the way he has done it. Miller, Moore, Rolder, Abney, Law, GH West. I'm guessing that means in terms of the guys who will make the roster. I agree. There should be about 7. I still say Eric Hunter's going to make it, and I'm gonna die on that hill. I really, really, really am. Experiment. I was surprised to hear both Eric Schlitt and Nick Baumgardner say they thought the UDFA tight end had a good chance to make the team. I'm not surprised. So that's Kitzelman, right? I've been very on the record as I don't like our tight end room. And that doesn't include Sam, by the way, because obviously I love Sam. But I said after Sam I'd have blown the entire room up and restarted it from scratch because I'm just not really that big on them. Brock Wright, he's never been a good blocker. PFF will even back me up with that. He's been an average blocker and he's not done enough as a receiver. Certainly not to justify a tight end 2 rating. He's not good enough at either discipline for me to be a proper tight end 2. So, again, not a fan of that. Tyler Conklin could be tight end 2. But he's obviously got a lot of deficiencies in his game as well, and there's a reason he's bounced around as much as he has. But when he's on his day, he can be really good. I would have Conklin as tight end 2 right now. But then after that, you've got Zach Horton, who's a fullback, and you've got Thomas Gordon, who's I believe an undrafted free agent, I think, as well. So Kitzelman's got every chance to make the roster for me. Like, you're going to take 3 or 4 tight ends for me. Only Laporta should be the lock right now. The rest of them should have their jobs should be at risk. I know a lot of people love Brock Wright and everything he does, but again, for me, he just doesn't do either part of the game good enough to justify being a tight end 2. The Zylstra pairings, they're both just injured to hell, and I wouldn't expect to see them back. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. And, Poole's massive on Kitzelman, and I trust Poole's judgment. Poole's a bigger college nerd than me, so which is hard, but he likes Miles Kitzelman and what he brings. I trust what he says. Because I don't really watch Tennessee players. I don't like the way their offense play. I don't like Tennessee offensive players in general. Their style of air raid offense just doesn't adapt very well to the league outside of their receivers. The rest of them are what they are. But he says Kitzelman can make it. I trust him. So, yeah, a lot of guys think so. The depth chart is just not good at tight end. So, yeah, I could get it. I still think they might hit free agency again. Who knows? But it's one of those I'm not comfortable about going into the year, especially with Sam's injury. If Sam was fully healthy and I knew that back was fine, I'd feel better. But because I think we're going to we need someone who can take some of the weight off Sam this year, I'm not satisfied yet. It's still somewhere they can go at. Minnesota, accent in min. Oh, yeah, we're going to get into place pronunciations again. I think for a Brit, I pronunciate your cities very well, and I've taken a lot of time in adjusting to your culture of doing that. I'm picking up your American words now as well. I say route instead of route over here. I say defense instead of defense. Like, your words are penetrating my vernacular. So, no more lessons in how to say things. I have done enough. You're ruining my perfect English. The game is. Anywho, I feel the Bears are still going to get a big name free agent pass rusher to pair with Montez Sweat. It wouldn't surprise me if they go after one of the free agents holding out of OTAs and stuff like Cam Jordan or Jadeveon Clowney. I would hate to go there. I would love Jadeveon Clowney with the Lions. So I agree with you. The Bears have tried to shortcut their way to success. They've not been afraid to pay free agents big money to try and get where they want to quicker. So, yeah, they absolutely could. Liam Reynolds goes, I'm interested in Jackson Meeks. He was being cross-trained at tight end during the year, and there's also no depth with his size at wide receiver, so he might have 2 opportunities to make the roster. You're absolutely right, and Jackson Meeks is a great example of someone who a lot of people blew smoke behind and then completely forgot about. I mean, I'm going to lie, I'm in that category. I forgot about him. I wasn't as big on him as some others were, but you're absolutely right. His size and build and the potential versatility you could have with him certainly give him an opportunity to make the roster. If not, I would expect him to hit the practice squad and to be elevated into games, especially if there's some injuries there as well. Horton's the outlier. Like, I do like a good fullback, I'm not going to lie, and Horton's being able to hang around the roster. I think Horton might have a shot as well. And that might be where Jackson Meeks kind of... Like, if Jackson Meeks could do the fullback thing, but he's not got the build to be a fullback. He's too tall and lanky. But certainly, I think the tight end battle is wide open. You could go Meeks if you want another receiving type tight end. You could go Horton if you want more of a blocking tight end, fullback type. It's still a wide open battle for me, and I would not pencil anybody in other than Sam Laporta. You should be looking to do better than Brock Wright as your tight end 2. If you are a Super Bowl caliber team, you should not be just penciling him in just because he's been here a few years. Like I say, the numbers don't match what we should be expecting from that position. So, yeah, hopefully they're not done yet, and maybe Conklin surprises us as well. But again, we'll see. But I think it's going to be one of the more intriguing battles of camp. I don't think there's that many intriguing battles this year. Obviously, the depth linebackers and Hunter's going to be interesting. Maybe the battle for the later positions in the defensive line will be interesting. But outside of that, I'm not really seeing... I don't know where the intriguing fights are going to be. So tight end is proper at the list of things I'll look at training camp, and there is not much. Now, I'm just giving you how Minnesotans speak. Think Fargo. Oh yeah, Minnesota. I know you weren't, Mal Barker. I'm just joshing with you, as they say. It's... You all say things very differently over there, so... You know, it takes some adjusting to, but I'd like to think over the years I've done a pretty good job with it. So, could Law take some snaps at running back? It's an interesting concept. So yeah, like the running backs is, I guess that is another position of intrigue for me, because I don't really like what we've got at running back either. You know, you've got Pacheco in there, you've got Gibbs, but after that, Sailors, Varkey, Small, Robichaux. I mean, I would love to see Kai Robichaux get a go personally. I have a thing for Rutgers and their tailbacks. Obviously, Monangai, Robichaux, they're built in a similar style. They're both massive bowling balls that love contact and love, you know, getting the yards after contact and all that sort of stuff. I would love to see Kai Robichaux get a go, because I think injury hampered him last year. But you're right, I think the plan for Kendrick Law will be gadget guy in the backfield. They'll have him working behind the line of scrimmage. I would actually like to see a situation where you use your 2 running back sets with Gibbs and Kendrick Law, because that could be quite intriguing, because Gibbs can play receiver, as we know. Kendrick Law loves playing behind the line of scrimmage as a receiver, but if you sort of put that threat in there that he could run the ball as well, you could come up with some very interesting concepts there with Kendrick Law doing that. So I wouldn't be unopposed to it. I'm just trying to think. I don't know if Kentucky really did anything, but again, Kentucky's offensive scheme stunk horribly, and he was only there 1 year. I mean, what is it? 6 foot 205. The build kind of works for it. They gave him 7 carries for 56 yards. So he went to 8 yards a carry. Alabama did give him some runs as a running back as well. So it's potential. Oh my word, that is a really interesting stat. So Kendrick Law has 87 rushing yards in college. He's got 92 yards after contact. So he's got more yards after contact than he has actual rushing yards. But that kind of just reinforces this notion that he can make his own stuff happen. So, you know, it's a small sample size. It's only 14 carries, but I think it's more than Varkey got in college. Yeah, that's actually, I'll give you that one, Joseph. That is an idea which has just piqued my interest. I would like to see that. I'm hoping Petzing works 2 running back sets. I despise the fact we don't use them. And yes, you can do it with Pacheco as well, but when you do 2 running back sets, you want both running backs to be able to run and catch, because then the opposition doesn't have a Scooby what you're doing. Yeah, colour me very intrigued on that. That is a tremendous idea. And plus it gives him more versatility for the roster. If you're going to say Kendrick Law is going to work in relief on packages at running back, he's going to work as your screen guy, he's going to do special teams as well, that just adds to his versatility even more. And for a wide receiver 4, that's incredibly valuable. So yeah, I love that. That is a wonderful suggestion. I hope they take a look at that, because both Bama and Kentucky did. So, you know, there's no reason we shouldn't as well. That's just made me even more intrigued about him. I do think he's going to shock a lot of people this year. Right, where are we at? Some people are saying Law could be like Debo or Hill. All I would say is let's not do that to him. Because if people start saying he's like Debo, then expectations go through the roof. I get your point. Like, he's a gadget guy who can work in a variety of different ways. We'll just say he doesn't have the ceiling of Debo or Tyreek, but we could use him in that manner. And yeah, you could get him, you know, you could certainly use him in motion a lot and just create. We didn't create enough mismatches for me. Like with Ben used to move people around all over the place, create mismatches and that. I think we lacked that last year. We didn't use Khalif in that role. Like, you know, Khalif was meant to be the gadget guy who kind of unlocked teams whilst all the others kept, you know, DBs busy. And he was like the little hook we'd use, and we didn't use him in that manner. So I would like Kendrick Law to be that type of guy. He could do that kind of role, but not be Debo or Tyreek Hill. So, Yeah, he absolutely could do that. Right, we are at 150. I'll go for about another 10 minutes. We like to go about 2 hours on these things. So if you've got any last questions for today you want to get in before I go sit down and watch a film before I go to bed, then please do get them in there. Again, I've appreciated all of you this evening. I didn't think it were going to be this busy at all. So the fact that you guys have tuned in on your Friday night to listen to me and a Brit talk about American football is very much appreciated. As I say, you mean a lot to us. We wouldn't be doing it otherwise. If we didn't have any listeners, we'd have stopped doing this long ago. So you all make it. Right, my pod diary is there. I think I answered a couple of questions I got earlier. As I say, you can always submit questions early during the week. I'm going to carry on doing these until the interest dies away during the off-season, so I'm assuming at some point it will, and then we'll bring them back in the pre-season and do them like all next year during the season, because Monday to Monday, when we're doing one show a week, we don't want you to forget about us. We want you to know that we're here. So we're gonna try more short form content going forward as well, just to keep us in your thoughts there. Joseph goes, I made the suggestion to Coach on All 22. He liked it as well. I love Coach on All 22. He's so good at what he does. I can fully understand him being behind it. You should ask him to do a video on it or something. See if it could be done. But that is interesting. I'm going to mention it to Ash because, as I said at the start of the show, I've been asked, or Grandizer are asked about the schematic fit for our new rookies. And one of Ash or Paul's going to write a proper article about it so they can properly articulate it, because it's very nuanced. But I will push that idea to them and see if either of them run with it. I would assume both would love it, like gadget guys like that. That could be quite good. So we'll write about it more in depth on the blog, and we'll let you know when that is. Who's the fan favourite for this year's draft? Last year was Hassanin because of his RXN. What am I missing there? Just clarify. Who's the fan favourite? Ooh. Now, see, you're asking someone who watches. Like, I have my favourites, and a lot of times my favourites are not. I'm very on an island type guy. Like, for me, Hunter's my favourite by a country mile, I think. I love everything about Eric Hunter and what he brings to that. So he's my fan favourite, and then it'd probably be Skylar Gill Howard, who would be the one after that. In terms of the favourite, I think it'll be Abney. I think Keith Abney will be the fan favourite this year. In terms of, because we like the scrappy guys. There's nothing wrong with Blake Miller and Derek Moore. Absolutely nothing wrong with them. And maybe you could say the Michigan guys will be fan favourites because a lot of Detroiters are Michigan fans. But I think in terms of who the fans are really going to root for, I think they'll love Keith Abney's physical prowess that he brings to the room. Like, he's like a corner version. He's like a corner version of Malcolm. Like, he is just 150% every single snap, and despite, like, he's going to overcome his size limitations and whatnot and go on to have a productive career, providing the injury bug doesn't hit him like it did with Malcolm. But, I can't speak on it. Like, I'd be interested to know who you all think would be that guy. Like, put it in the comments for me. Who's your favourite? And maybe we can get consensus here. But So my take on this is either Keith Abney or Skylar Gill Howard. I think people will lean towards Keith Abney, but I think Skylar Gill Howard will be a close second. And they'll be the two who are the proper fan favourites this year. But in my eyes, it's Hunter. And I will go on about him relentlessly over the summer. So hopefully I'll convert some people as well. And we'll get the E40 train rolling. But yeah, Abney for me. Yeah, Abney. He'll be the fan favourite. And obviously, hopefully, Hassanin gets healthy and is able to make an impact. Because this is a big year for Hassanin. I don't say this lightly. He's got to make an impact this year. when you're a late day 3 rookie who's not played as much football as a lot of the other guys have, then you miss your entire first year. It just makes your odds of succeeding even harder. He's got to see some good playing time this year, and he's got to be healthy to do that. So, but I'm really rooting for the kid. I still am. So, yeah. But yeah, Eric Hunter might be he could be one of my favourites on the team. No one will ever supplant JMO. JMO's always going to be number 1, but he could, if he makes it, be right high up there. Young Frankenstein is a great film. It is indeed. I don't know what I'm going to watch this evening, but I'll find something good, no doubt. Plenty on Netflix, all that sort of stuff. Reaction. Oh yeah, last year was Hussein because of his reaction. Yeah, that was something. Yeah, he sort of, it was his personality which drew people to him. Absolutely. Whereas Abney's just, he's that kind of player where when he's on your team, you love him to death. When he's not on your team, you hate his guts. Like, absolutely hate his guts because of how he plays. But yeah, Detroiters they'll really take to Abney's brand of physicality very quickly. I would like to see him getting some time in pre-season because I think he's just one of those where he'll absolutely wallop somebody, it'll go viral, and the fan fest will continue forever. Chemistry abbreviation. No, looking at it now, you're right, it's late here, mile marker, so I'm not at my full mental capacity right now. I probably would have caught that otherwise. National champion speed skating. Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen much of Blake Miller on social media with his interviews? He seems so amazingly calm. I wonder if he's going to be like the Ben Affleck character in The Accountant. That's a good comparison. I've seen some of Blake Miller's interviews. I mean, for me, just the thing that stands out about him is he is like a gentle giant type, but when he plays, he's all business. I know he wasn't my favourite tackle in the cycle, but there's a reason why I think he's got the highest floor of everybody, which is just as valuable, and he's the ultimate Iron Man. But you look at him and you wouldn't see it. Like, he doesn't look like a Detroiter, like he doesn't look like a grit player. Like, you look at him and you're like, oh, he's just very nice, he is. But the second he puts his helmet on, he's an absolute mean so-and-so. It's interesting. Like, this is a very interesting acid test. This is the first offensive lineman Dabo Swinney's had drafted, I believe, in the first round. Clemson, you'd think for all its fame and that, Clemson would like be one of these, legacies that had just punted out great offensive linemen forever, but it's not. Clemson offensive linemen have traditionally just not been that good, and it's just some. And again, they've had all these championship teams and whatnot, even with the Lawrence winning team and that, and not many of these guys have been very successful. So Blake Miller's going to be a very interesting acid test for Dabo's first round pick for an O lineman. I think he's going to be tremendous. I do like the player as well. There is something to like about him. But yeah, that mean man, Iron Man streak is just something. I don't think he's ever missed a game. Like, not going back to high school and pee-wee football and all that sort of stuff you do. Yeah, I think he's going to ingratiate himself very quick. But yeah, the player's a gentle giant, to be fair. Absolutely. Anthony Lucas is the only dude that might make it. You saw it here first. I get it. Like, he's got the athletic traits, and athletes are more likely to make it than lesser athletes with more technique, especially in those last positions. But I can see it. I do think out of the UDFAs, depending on circumstances, 3 or 4 of them, that there's a route you can. Oh, good lord. No, I'm going to be British. There is a route to the roster for them. There is the right set of circumstances and the right amount of play. There is a way they can make the roster. Like, Hunter can, O'Neill can, Lucas can for the same reason as O'Neill. Rooker potentially, depending on what happens with Dorsey and his health and whatnot. So, there is a world where a few of these guys could make it, but Lucas is certainly in that category. But I think it would require Hassanin to be very bad, because that's the spot they're going after. I don't include Peyton Turner in this either, but if he does, it would not surprise me. I put it this way, I wouldn't be surprised if a UDFA made the roster, because I think the UDFA class is pretty good. Lucas over Moore, that is something. I'm going to let the Michigan fans take that one, because I got enough hate on Twitter and told to go away for expressing dissatisfaction with the Rolder pick. I got a lot of hate for that and nasty comments, so I ain't saying nothing about these Michigan guys now. Folks turn on you real quick when you do that. Hope we're bringing another running back. Absolutely, I do as well. Highest floor, 55 PFF rating, he won't even start this year. Are we on about Blake Miller still? Or who are we on about here? I'm on about Blake Miller having the highest floor. Did he really grade that badly last year? He's always been a very well graded player. Blake Miller, unless you were on about something else. Might be me, I might have misread that. Who won't even start this year? Just, clarify that one for me. The only Lions player in my fan days that I loved so much and hated so much was Sue. Love, hate? How could you... Just Sue is, My ultimate favourite player is Glover Quinn. But J-Mo's pushing him closely. I think by the time J-Mo's done, J-Mo will have surpassed Glover Quinn. But Glover Quinn will forever be my player love. Out of that. They always will be. And we were lucky enough. I remember, I wish we'd interviewed him later on this podcast. We got Glover Quinn in our first year, I want to say. We got him in the first 18 months of starting the podcast, and I was not the guy I am now. I was a nervous wreck. You wouldn't believe it, but before I started this podcast, I was the most nervous person in the world. And when we interviewed Glover Quinn, I was starstruck, and I think I asked him like 2 questions, and that was it. And it was like, I regret that to this day. If I was able to get Glover Quinn on for an interview now, I'd interview him for hours. Because I absolutely love him to death as a player, and I will always hate Matt Patricia for forcing him out of town. That's why I will hate Matt Patricia until the day I die. It was one of the biggest reasons, forcing Glover Quinn off this team, and we weren't able to see him there anymore. If Miller can develop into a Decker type, I'll be happy. Yeah, vet who plays 10 good years in the league, that is worth a first round pick for sure. I saw a story where he smoked weed, got cut from Texas A&M. Which one's that? I don't know who we're on about here at this point. Does Peyton make the roster? No. I would say there's a less than 0% chance he makes the roster. Well, maybe not less than 0, but I think the Lions will believe in their own guys before him. I just don't see his appeal. Especially now you've got Wareham and Moore. I don't think I want Peyton as my special teamer because of his injury history. I've got 3 good guys to start. Potentially with Levi, if you're playing him on the edge as well, you've got depth there. After that, I'm just looking for special teamers and guys with upside. I'd rather take Hassanin and O'Neal or Lucas or guys like that rather than someone like Peyton. So I just think there's no chance he makes it. Unless we get decimated by injuries and we've got no choice. I don't think that he makes it. I watched Miller get smoked by Bain and Danny Dennis Sutton. Every single player gets smoked in college. Everyone. And I agree. Again, Miller wasn't my favourite, but there is not a single collegiate player who comes to the draft who does not get his ass handed to him in a game. It's part of growing up in college football. You win, you lose. I don't mind if guys lose on occasion, especially when you're talking about Ruben Bain, who is just a sensational talent. It's not exactly the worst thing in the world. Like, every single player can have a rubbish day and just look like the worst person in the world. It's all part of the growth prospect. For the most part, in his Clemson career, he's been solid. He's never given up like more than 2 sacks in a year. The run blocking's usually been pretty good. It could be better, don't get me wrong, but he's been consistent as well. He played nearly 4,000 snaps in college, and again, Clemson lineman, it's not the greatest history there, and he made it day one. Dabo Swinney doesn't really put true freshmen on that line from day one. He took that spot, made it his own, and But everyone gets smoked in college. I learned that, when I started scouting. I'm like, oh yeah, you kind of write people off after seeing them get their ass handed to them. And yes, Clemson's schedule is not a Bama schedule, but again, the ACC is competitive. There's some good edge rushers that come out the ACC. There's good rushers that come out of every conference. We play against South Carolina as a rival. They've got Dylan Thomas on there at the minute. Is it Dylan Thomas? No, Dylan Stewart. My bad. Don't know where Thomas came from. He might be a consensus top 5 pick next year. He didn't get much success against Miller, but you have to take the good with the smooth. They're going to have good tape. They're going to have bad tape. Again, Miller was not my favourite pick, but he's a line now, so we're going to go with it. I'm going to hope he succeeds. PFF, yeah, not a fan. I don't like PFF, really. I watch tape, and I make my way up that way. And I've always been anti-PFF since the day we started this show. I just... Use your eyes. PFF grades can be manipulated. Like all stats, they can be manipulated. Your eyes can't be, for the most part. Right tackle will face much tougher competition than Bain or Sutton. Every single tackle who's coming up to the league is going to face tougher competition. Whether they're playing the SEC or the CUSA, they're all taking a step up in competition. Yes, some it's bigger than others, but, you think about it, Miller's played against quite a few draft picks coming up this year, so again, we'll have to wait and see. I know it wasn't the sexy pick, but, he's a Lion now, and we're going to agree, but a guy the size of Markel Bell or Maxi Iheanacho is better. No, it depends. Again, there's a lot of things. Sometimes taller guys, they have issues with leverage. For me, 6'6" is a really nice sweet spot for tackle. It's not too small, but it's not too big either. I'm not really a fan of tackles above 6'6". I think they just have way too many issues with leverage and guys getting underneath them, and pad level. Like, pad level gets destroyed at the NFL level. Like, your pads. A lot of these 6'8", 6'9" tackle guys come up and they just can't deal with it because leverage issues, and so few of them are well technically trained with it. They're just used to being bigger and stronger than everyone else, but then as soon as technique comes into it, they're reduced to nothing. So 6'6" is a really nice sweet spot for tackles for me. I think it's just about right. Markel Bell and that might do something, but I was never really high on Markel Bell to start with. He got wrecked by Derek Moore in the Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl, whichever one it was. In practices, Derek Moore had him on skates. So, they all have their own issues. They do. Len Barney's my favourite Lion. Yeah, we all love a Len Barney. Ryan loves Len Barney. He's got a Len Barney signed football. He was one of the first pieces of memorabilia he got of the Lions, so... But Len will always be there. I think Hank Freely can coach him up and also can help Boreham to potentially he could. Miller's going to gain strength before he even gets to training camp. Yeah, he's the ultimate professional. Like I say, I think he's got a safe floor. Blake Miller does, with the potential to get a lot better on the upside. So we'll see with it, but I don't have too many concerns with him at this point. Hank should do his work with him. He's always moulded the first round guys. Like first and second round guys, Hank's got a very good track record with. There's just little parts of their game that need sorting out, and he seems to be able to fix it. But, he's going to be a rookie tackle this year. He's going to have some bad games in the NFL. They all will. Like Ratledge last year. Ratledge for me was great, but he had that game against Philadelphia where he got absolutely made mincemeat out of by their defensive tackles. It was his welcome to the NFL moment, but apart from that, I thought he was tremendous. All rookies go through that phase. There will be one game where you're like, oh my god, he looks terrible. But they'll live and learn from it. Tate did. Tate was all the better for that, especially after that Philly game. He'll have gone back and seen the tape on it and, realised what he needed to do, and he looked really good after that. So, all part of the learning process. Right, I have gone on. It made Moore famous. Yeah, Moore on Bell made him very famous in the pre-draft run-up. Very famous indeed. God, I've gone 2 hours, 12 minutes here. Right, I'm probably going to start winding this down now. If there's any comments I've I will do one more sweep for comments. I will just go quickly through a few bits first, housekeeping, before I get out of here. Obviously, we've not had a show this week because we've taken some time off from the draft. On Monday, we will be back with profiling the Lions undrafted free agents. So we're going to deep dive some of these guys. Everyone from Lucas to Hunter, you're going to hear more about them. So we'll be back on Monday for that. Hopefully you can join us for that one. I will be back next Friday with another Q&A because it seems to have gone well. Again, I've really appreciated you all with me this evening. For good or for bad, I enjoy the arguments. I enjoy the discussions. I enjoy it all. All comments are, all interaction is good interaction. The college football podcast will be back very soon with myself and Rye. Usually we take about a month off after the draft, but it's weird, but there's not that much time before the start of the season in terms of doing one episode a week, and we have a lot of stuff to go through, so we're going to be starting it up much earlier this year. Ryan's just recovering from a hair transplant at the minute, so I'm going to give it a week or two till his hair... He's had one of those Turkish operations where they've redone his hair, so you're going to see Ryan with a full head of hair in future when it starts growing back, but he's currently bald. But yeah, College Football Podcast will be back in a week or two. I would say 2 probably. And of course, we will start off with our conference previews, which will be back this year. Because of situations last year, I wasn't able to do them, which was a bit of a shame. But as always, we'll start with the Group of 5 conferences. We'll work our way up to the Power conferences and give you a comprehensive rundown on the teams, on the state of all the teams as they come into the 2026 season, which is going to be good fun. We're doing the FCS this year as well. We're going to get, hopefully, Zach, who you all saw, the Dolphins content creator. The Dolphins guy we had on for the draft. Zach is an FCS magician who knows everything. He knows Gerald very well. So we're going to do a dive down into the FCS as well and put a light on some of their draft prospects coming into next year, because there are some pretty exciting prospects who might declare for the draft next year at the FCS level again. So we'll be able to get a level of knowledge we've not had before, and we'll do all the conferences. And as always, if you want us to do work on any groups or anything before the season, if there's any positions you're already looking at for the Lions next year, anything like that, we'll do comprehensive breakdowns for you. We'll do the preseason teams, all that good sort of stuff. We're going to go nuts on it this year. And yeah, I think that's just about it for the time being. Again, we're heading into off-season. We've got a lot of shows to fill. So if there's anything you want to see us do, any content you want us to do, then please get in touch with us and let us know. Because we're open to ideas right now. We've got a lot of empty slots that we need to fill. As mentioned, in a few weeks, we're going to have Joel Waltkowski on, author of Honolulu Blues, How Loving a Losing Football Team Created a Winning Man. It is a book about the history of the Detroit Lions and one man's relationship over the years through the good and the bad and how it defined them as a person. We cannot wait for that. That's going to be awesome. Probably going to do that in a few weeks' time, and hopefully we're going to get a few more guests and bits on as well. If there's any guests you want to see on as well, please do let us know. We have a lot of work to do, so sometimes it's nice to have suggestions and save us thinking about it all. But I think that's everything in terms of what's coming up. You know where to find us at Royal Lines UK, all that good sort of stuff. Let me just check I've not missed any comments before I get out of here. Terry goes, I think Larry Boreham starts, but Miller takes over pretty quick. Potential? I think so. I think that certainly could happen. It might not be day one for Miller. That's the insurance that Boreham is, so we can do it either way. Experiment goes, and is there anything that we can do to help you out directly since you're putting in so much extra time on these shows for us? I will think about it. I don't know. I'm sure there is. As I say, we're going to try. We want to do more content. It's just having the time, so we're trying to manage our time a bit better. So that we can do more. But if there's anything I need help with, I will send an SOS out to you all. To help me out directly since point. I don't think so. A lot of this is just research. Research is the time consumer here, like with the college stuff. I spend days and days and days researching. There's not really a great deal can be done there. All that, for now, just do the regular stuff. Shout us out, spread the word of the pod, and come and interact with us as and when you can for now. But if there's anything specific I can think of, I will let you know, because as I say, we've just done our creative meetings and we're trying to find a way to reduce our workload and get things done so that we can focus on other better projects, because we're stuck with a lot of basic stuff at the minute. But I appreciate it, Experiment, and I will ask if there's anything we need. I'll have a word with the guys. Joseph goes, later, Ant, thanks for laying down the knowledge. Appreciate you, Joseph, and you, Terry, as well. Then you, Malmarker, to everyone who's been in the building this evening, appreciate it. Yeah, we've it's been a tough year for us at Roar of the Lions UK. As I say, a lot of stuff has gone off, but we're still here. We are gritty, and we are going to build this thing, and we're gonna push on into this new season with a lot of vigour, and hopefully you will be along for the ride. But for now, just remains for me to thank you all. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Have a drink. Get merry, whichever it is you do on the weekend. We shall see you on Monday for undrafted free agents. Until then, one pride worldwide. Have a good one, everybody.